Hello everybody, I'm here, and it is the last week before the Royal Rumble 2013. And I thought, I'll go ahead and preview it now. I have another video planned for the weekend. I hope I can get it in. My schedule's a little busy, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully I can get that video, because I've been planning it for a while, and I haven't been able to actually film it yet. But so I thought, just to get this out there on time, I will film my preview for the Royal Rumble here. And if you've watched my previous videos talking about the Royal Rumble from last year and 2011 and so on, you know that I actually am a big fan of the Royal Rumble. I love the concept. I love its importance in setting up WrestleMania. I love the whole concept of it. I like I said, it's very sports logic driven. People get so caught up, and it's so funny. I've had so many people tell me when I say, oh, there needs to be a sports logic in this, and it'd be cool if they kept track of some sort of win-loss record statistics and things like that, and people tell me I'm crazy, and yet every year, every single wrestling fan, they fucking mark out for the Royal Rumble, and that's nothing but statistics. The way that works out is, people keep track of how many eliminations everybody got, how long everybody was in the match, who came in at what number, how many times has so-and-so number won the Rumble every year, which is the most winningest number, yada, 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 all those things. It brings so many different factors into play that so many people keep track of that it's really a lot of fun to talk about. It's kind of the March Madness of wrestling, if I had to compare it to anything. It really is that, because so many people get caught up in that bracket making and all that stuff. And the Royal Rumble is very similar to that. And it's a lot of fun to talk about, even if the particular setup isn't that interesting, or if you don't, you feel like the winner is painfully obvious. It's still fun to talk about, and there are a lot of different factors to talk about, and discussions and speculating on what's going to happen and all that stuff. So the Royal Rumble, love the concept, it's a lot of fun. That said, the last two, I would say, 2011 and 2012, not very good. Were not very good Royal Rumble matches. The 40-man one was kind of a bust. I actually had a friend call me up the day after that particular Royal Rumble, and he said, dude, that was the worst Royal Rumble match ever. And this is a guy like me who had lived through, like, 95. The 95 Rumble, which was cool for the Shawn Michaels ending, not a very good Rumble otherwise. And he, seriously, with no hint of irony or anything in his voice, said, dude, that was the worst Rumble ever. And with all the Hornswoggle, whatever, he sucks. He doesn't deserve to have his name pronounced correctly. With all the Hornswoggles shenanigans going on, and the ending in particular, and the fact that having 10 extra guys just made it drag, it wasn't a very good Rumble. And last year's was very anticlimactic, I felt like they made a boo-boo in booking it, but I might cover that this weekend, so we'll see if I get to that special video I want to do. But here, like I said, previewing the Royal Rumble, and there's only 4 matches set, 3 aside from the Rumble. I'll get the first 2 out of the way pretty quickly, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Tag Team Championship, Team Hell No versus Team Road Scholars. I hope Road Scholars win the titles, because I kind of like them. I really do. I feel like it's really kind of rejuvenated Cody after his disastrous IC title run that they botched and fucked up and didn't get nearly as much out of that as they could have. And Damien Sandow, I really love that character. I love that dude should get the mic every week. The fact that Raw ended without him taking the stick during that whole, like, 30-man run-in or whatever that clusterfuck was, I thought, oh, that's a crime. Wait a minute, the primetime players get mic time and not Damien Sandow? That's not cool. But I don't even know if Team Road Scholars are even going to be in the Rumble, but they should be. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to pick Road Scholars to win the titles just because I want them to. Then there's Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show in the Last Man Standing match for the world title. Basically, it's the same match that you saw for free a couple weeks ago. I wouldn't be surprised if Big Show won the belt back, but I would probably just stick with Del Rio, because I think people seem to be really liking him as champion. I actually kind of like him as a babyface, so it'd be cool to see them kind of run with him as champion. Ziggler might cash in. I don't know. They might have Ziggler cash in at WrestleMania, which I think would be kind of cool. If they save the Money in the Bank cash in for a Big Show. But we'll see what goes down there. Then we got these other 2 matches, which are really the 2 main events. And I'm going to start with the Rumble match because I have a lot of positives for Rock versus Punk, so I want to save all the good stuff for last. And Truthfully, the Royal Rumble match is probably going to close, and rule of thumb is it probably should. Not that you can't successfully follow the Rumble. They did it in 97 and they did it in 98. But typically I just kind of feel like the Rumble is so long and so involved and so crowded and so exciting. It's not a very good idea to have a match follow it. I remember Bret and Undertaker in 96 being kind of a bore. And I was really excited for that match. I remember just thinking, it's like, wow, that match sucked. And their matches in 97 were much better. And in 2006, Mark Henry versus Kurt Angle was easily that might have been the worst main event match I've ever seen in WWF history. was that match. It was a stinker, and they did it just for the sole purpose of Undertaker blowing up the ring. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that we did that just to give Undertaker a moment that we had to sit through that awful match. But, whatever. Crowd walked out before... I think they started walking out before the match even started. Nobody really cared. But, anyway, yeah, general rule of thumb I would think would be to close with the Royal Rumble, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Now, what are my thoughts on this particular Rumble? Well, I'm trying to think of all the participants. I know they don't have all 30 set, and I don't know if they have any major surprises. Brock Lesnar might be in it. I doubt it. But I don't know if they have any major surprises. I'm not talking about like nostalgia picks like Booker T and Kevin Nash or anything like that, or the New Age Outlaws or guys like that. And there'll probably be some of that, but I'm talking about there's probably not going to be any major like earth-shattering, oh my God, this guy might come in and win it, like a Brock Lesnar type of entry. But I expect them to fill some of those spots with the same nostalgia picks that they typically do, like Hacksaw or something like that. But as for the group that's settled in now, really, you look at the group and you look at all the potential winners and you look at, okay, what are the possibilities heading into WrestleMania? Really, I can only see two guys winning this match. That's either Ryback, who is a distant second to John Cena. I think after Raw this week especially, I think a lot of us are, and all this talk that, 2012 was horrible for Cena, but this is going to be his year. 2013 is going to be the year of John Cena. And W'll bring my thoughts on Monday Night Raw into this as well. I was very confuzzled, and that's the word I'm going to use. I know it's not a real word, but I'm going to use it, confuzzled, while watching Raw, because I felt like I was watching two different shows. Parts of it were really, really good. Other parts of it were downright abominable. The beat the clock stuff, the matches were good, but then they flushed it down the drain by just making Dolph Ziggler #1 anyway, so the prize was worthless, and it was like, well, that was an exercise in pointlessness, and it kind of puts, sympathy on Dolph Ziggler, I think, kind of. And the prize that they were all fighting for was ultimately for naught, so that just felt like a waste of TV time when that was all said and done. And then you got John Cena's promo at the end, which was, and I've ragged on John Cena promos before, that might have been his worst. That might have been the single worst promo I've ever heard John Cena cut, and that is saying a lot. As a guy who rags on him constantly for his promos, it was pandering, it was shilling, it was stupid, it wasn't funny. He made fun of a fat guy, which wasn't very nice for the guy that's supposed to be the role model, the anti-bullying role model for kids. His character, and for those of you who saw Megamind, John Cena is basically Metro Man at this point. He's a douchebag that the universe wants us to believe is a role model and is awesome. That's what John Cena is. He's a total fucking douchebag and kind of a dick, and he's not funny, he's not cool. There's just nothing likable about this guy. Nothing about this character that is likable at all whatsoever. And when, I say I hate John Cena, it's shit like that. The shit that you saw on Monday Night Raw, that's the stuff I'm talking about. With his character is just so goddamn lame that I don't care. And he's going to win the Rumble. I can't see it being any other way. Even if they don't do Cena Rock 2, I can't picture Cena not winning after everything that they put in. And all the TV stuff. Ziggler might win, although I doubt it. Especially since he already has Money in the Bank. And especially since they've, basically butt-fucked him the last 4 weeks anyway. But I highly doubt Orton's going to win it. I really would hate them if Sheamus won 2 years in a row. The only other one I can see is Ryback. if they want to ride the Ryback gravy train or try and rebuild him after the losses to Punk, but I doubt it. It's going to be Cena. It's going to be Cena. You'll probably see the Shield cost Ryback. I've actually kind of thought, what if Cena's the one behind the Shield? I kind of had that idea in my head while watching Raw this week, but, we'll see. Yeah, don't be surprised if Cena wins the Rumble. I think we're all expecting it. And this is probably one of the more obvious Royal Rumble picks. It's kind of like 2003 with Lesnar. I think everybody and their grandmother knew Lesnar was going to win that match. And, yeah, I'm not happy about that. I accept it for what it is whenever Cena wins. It's like, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. Hopefully the Rumble match is fun this year, because the last two really weren't. So hopefully they're at least able to put together a good Royal Rumble out of this. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble match itself. Now, the real selling point of this pay-per-view for me is CM Punk versus The Rock for the WWE title. They have done, and I talked about this, parts of Raw were awesome and parts of it were terrible. Now we're getting into the awesome stuff. The build-up for Rock versus Punk has been absolutely amazing. Like, it's one of the best built matches WWE's done in a while. The stuff that they've done on TV has been stellar. Their interactions are great. I love the chemistry that they have. I think Rock always brings a lot of excitement whenever he's on TV, and Punk is just great as the heel, and he is unquestionably the heel. He's, as someone who's a fan of CM Punk, it's so easy to hate this character, I think. I just love his promos, love everything that they've done with him. And the segment they did on Raw this week with the Shield beating up The Rock, with CM Punk looking down from the skybox. And that was such a great visual, Punk looking down from the skybox, and them interacting, before the Shield came down, Rock and Punk interacting with each other in that way. That was so different, and so that made for a great visual. And when the Shield beat The Rock up, and it was great that they actually did, and they succeeded in kicking The Rock's ass. It reminded me of like Roman Colosseum type of, it had that kind of vibe to it, or like an old science fiction show where this dictator like character's looking down at the arena. I guess like Cobra Commander, he used to do that in G.I. Joe. The arena of sport. And he would just look down and just look at the participants as his playthings and just enjoy watching them torture each other. And that's what the vibe I got from CM Punk. He's just looking down and just enjoying watching the show, which was the Shield beating up The Rock. It was just such a great visual and such a great segment, I thought. And it was, once again, Punk came off really, really well. And I also thought it was great that they made the point where they said, okay, Shield is banned from ringside, and if they do interfere, Punk is stripped of the title. I think that was a great stipulation to add, because now it raises, like, okay, the Shield's not going to get involved, so that is kind of removed from the equation. Now it's like, okay, is Rock going to have a fair fight, or is something else going to happen? Is Heyman going to have a plan B? Is Lesnar going to show up? Is Punk's WrestleMania opponent, whoever that is, it's rumored to be Undertaker. I was predicting Steve Austin. It doesn't look like that's going to happen now. Are they going to show up? I don't know. And but what it comes down to, even if nobody does show up and there is no run-in or anything, they've done a really good job of making me want to see these two fight and making me really believe that they want to kick each other's asses, and that Rock is like the perfect guy to potentially take down CM Punk. It's really well done and really good, and I really want to see this match. And I'll say this, I am way more excited for this match than I ever was for Rock and Cena. And I know that's harsh, and that match got a year-long build-up, and for the most part they did a good job with it, but I was never truly invested in John Cena. I've never been invested in John Cena, and that's kind of my thing. And at some points, they kind of brought Rock down to Cena's level, and I didn't like that. It was there were some bumps in the road in the build-up, and there was some great stuff in the build-up too. I'm not completely ragging on it, but this has just been perfect. Two characters that I'm totally invested in, and major kudos to The Rock, because Rock's probably going to win the title. I'm banking on Rock winning, and that's going to be my prediction. He has made CM Punk look stellar in this feud, and that's kind of the thing, and that's something that Triple H and even sometimes Undertaker, that they kind of have a hard time with, where the heels constantly get humiliated. Some of Cena's feuds have gone that way. I've talked about it with Ziggler, where he's basically made Ziggler into a bitch the last couple of weeks. And there are some times where Triple H will do that, where he just doesn't want to look weak for whoever he's facing, and what he doesn't understand, or maybe he does understand, he just doesn't care. I don't know. I don't live in Triple H's mind, but If you're going to beat this guy at the pay-per-view, you want it to be something special. You want it to be a big deal. And that's why, Triple H's program with Jericho heading into Mania 18 was a complete fucking disaster. And why that match bombed. Because Jericho looked like kind of a bitch, and nobody believed for a second that he was in Triple H's league. And that was all in the way he was promoted. And that's the problem. For all intents and purposes, that match was Stephanie McMahon versus Triple H for the WWE title. And that was why that program failed. But here, it's like Rock has put Punk on his level. And has put over how dangerous he is and how tough it is going to be to beat him, and how it's a great challenge and a tough challenge to take down CM Punk, and how he's been champion for over a year and over 400 days now, and Punk's the man. He's dangerous, he's crafty, and everything else in between. And Punk looks like a great, with all his physical attributes, he also looks like a great schemer in the process, especially with what happened with the Shield on Raw this week. And it's just a great, great clash of characters between two guys that I'm actually invested in, and I really want to see them fight. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most in wrestling. You got to make me want to see these two characters fight each other, and you got to build that animosity, and they've done that perfectly here, and I really, really applaud them for that. And as a result, I am going to pay for the Royal Rumble. If this match wasn't on the card, I probably wouldn't. I don't know what would be in its place. But this is the match that I want to see. This is the match that is going, okay, you've got me sold. I'm going to check this out. And I'm picking Rock to win, obviously, because it just feels like they want to do Rock and Cena too, which I've yet to talk to one person that really, really, really wants that match to happen. But they're probably going to do that, so Cena wins the Rumble, Rock defeats Punk. They could do other things, I guess. I've kind of theorized that maybe, like I said, Brock Lesnar could interfere and cost Brock the match, and maybe they do Rock versus Brock. I don't know. So it's not set in stone that's going to be Cena Rock 2. It just feels like that's where they're going to go. So, that's all I have for now. I'm going to try and get that video up this weekend. If I don't, and if I run behind on things, I apologize. Hope you all enjoy the Royal Rumble, because I know most of y'all will be checking it out. And I will see y'all next time I do one of these videos, which if it's not this weekend, it'll definitely be next week. So until then, later, everybody.